Brandon Hathaway. I'm the preacher at the Westside Church of Christ in Owensboro, Kentucky. And I want to thank you for joining me today as we open up our Bible and study the Word of God. We are in the book of Ephesians chapter 3, and we're going to look at verse 8 here in just a moment, Ephesians 3 and verse 8. But before I get started into the verse of the day, I do want to take the time aside and say it is Sunday, the first day of the week, and we follow the example in Acts 20, verse 7, as disciples gathered upon the first day of the week then. We do so today. And so if you would like to come and check us out, come and hear the word of God be proclaimed, then please come join us for Bible class that starts at 9:30, or for a worship service at 10:30, or come to both of them. We'd love to have you after Bible class. Stick around for our worship. And then we also have evening services at 5 p.m. tonight, and we would just be uh, overjoyed if you'd come and be with us as we gather together and worship. Also want to make mention that next Sunday we'll be starting our gospel meeting. Yes, next Sunday. We have brother Roger Hillis, who used to preach here at Westside, and so I know the brethren here are very excited to be able to catch up with him and be with him and just catch up and enjoy that. But also, and to the point that he proclaims the truth, he preaches the gospel, and so looking forward to hearing a few lessons. And so that starts Sunday and it'll be through Wednesday. And so regular times on Sunday, and then Monday through Wednesday at 6:30 p.m. each night. And so love to have you come and be part of that. And so anyways, getting to our verse of the day, Ephesians chapter 3, and looking at verse 8. And so it says here, to me, the very least of all the saints, this grace was given to preach to the Gentiles the unfathomable riches of Christ. And so again, I know I could read further and go into more detail about stuff, but I just want to focus on the one spot about this is Paul, the Apostle Paul, makes this statement, to me, the least of all saints. The least. He considers him the last in line, the least, the least qualified, the least worthy to be called a saint, to be called a Christian, a follower of Christ, to be one who is worthy to receive God's grace. The least of saints, Paul. When we sit back and we think about everything that Paul had done, how we have Romans and Corinthians and Galatians and Ephesians and Philippians and Colossians and Thessalonians and Timothy and Titus, and we have all these letters from Paul writing to these churches, and we read through Acts about his trips going from one place to the other. Paul, who's willing to confront Peter himself, another apostle that had high reputation. I think about Paul, I don't think of him as the least, right? I don't think of him as the last in line. But that's how he considered himself. He knew his past. He knew what he had done wrong in the past. And, as much as he did in the name of the Lord, afterwards, after he had repented to continue to teach the truth, he still considered himself last in line, least of all saints. And that should speak to us and how humble we need to be. We can get caught up so often saying, well, I've been a Christian for X amount of years, and I have, preached lessons, I have taught classes, I have led songs, I've done this, I've done that. And so therefore we have a tendency to get too prideful. We get a high head, or we might come to that point of, well, I've done my part and I don't have to do any more. That was never Paul's attitude. I mean, again, Paul gets thrown into prison, he's writing letters. Paul is on trial and he's teaching the truth. Paul never stopped. He just never stopped until his life came to an end. Paul was always preaching. He was always setting an example. He was always shining his light. And he never considered himself the greatest, the best, the one who people need to look at as the mightiest. But rather, he was also always humble. And so it's such a great example for us today. Whether you're a preacher, an elder, a teacher in class, a Christian for a long time, we have to have that humble attitude of we're just, you know, we're another person that God has forgiven for their sins. We've all fallen short and we've all need his forgiveness. And so therefore it's just I think Paul sets a great example there for us. Anyways, that's our verse of the day. Again, I thank you for joining me. I hope that if you're in the Owensboro area, that you'll come join us for Bible class again at 9:30 or worship service at 10:30. So, hope you have a blessed day. If the Lord is willing, I'll talk to you later.